Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review. And today we'll be taking a look at the brand new Mezco 112 Collective Black Suit Previews exclusive Spider-Man. And here's a quick look at the packaging that it comes with. It comes in the big metal tin, and that's what they do for all their previews exclusive figures. And it's cool, it's collector friendly, it looks nice. You got the spider logo on the front, then all the 112 Collective information all around it. And then on the back of the packaging, you're able to see the figure itself, and then you can see the accessories that he comes with. What's funny about this is that it shows the figure before they change the material, so it doesn't even look accurate to the figure inside. And then, like I said, it's collector friendly, it looks very nice, but it's a huge box and it's kind of a hassle to store. I do appreciate that they package these figures in like safe containers, but it's just kind of a pain to deal with. But other than that, I do like the packaging. And for the articulation on Spider-Man, I'd have to say that it's actually really good, and it's better than the previous Mezco Spider-Man figures. So let's get into it here. His head is able to move side to side. And you have movement where the neck meets the head and where the neck meets the torso, so there's a lot of nice movement. You could get it to go all the way around. And it's a little bit better than the standard Spider-Man, because on the standard Spider-Man, doing this would kind of damage the material here, and that's not happening with the black Spider-Man. So that's awesome. And check it out, you could get his head to tilt side to side. A lot of nice movement there. You could get him to look all the way up pretty much. And then you could get him to look down to about there. And then for the torso, you have the standard Mezco torso where you have the mid-torso joint and a joint here at the waist. And these two joints work together really well to get them to tilt to the side. And this is both joints working here to do this. And same thing going forward, they work together. You're getting most of the movement out of the mid-torso, but the waist definitely contributes to what's going on here. And then it could go back to about there. And then you have some twist. Of course, the material is going to restrict the twisting a little bit, but you still get a decent amount. And yeah, you just get movement all the way around. So some awesome torso articulation on Spider-Man. And then you have the ball jointed shoulders. You don't have the butterfly shoulder joint that Mezco sometimes uses, but for some reason they chose not to use it on the Spider-Man body. But it's okay. You still get some really nice movement with the arms. And his arms could pretty much go all the way up without the material getting in the way too much. So that's really, really nice. This material is really weird. I'm not sure exactly what it is, if it's leather or what, but it really doesn't restrict the movement too much. As you can see here, his hand could pretty much come all the way up, going the opposite way too. And then his arms could come out to the side. Then you have upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, a swivel at the wrist, and a hinge at the wrist. And then now for his legs. They could come out to the side, and you could pretty much get him to do the splits, but you want to be careful because of the material. And then you could bring his leg to about there, but you want to be careful because it kind of gets pinched into the joints here. The material, that is, it gets pinched into there, and you don't want it to leave an imprint on the material. So you want to be careful with his legs, but they do move a lot. Like I said, they come out to the side. Then you have the upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees. Sorry, I'm kind of taking it easy here. I don't want to mess them up. And then for his ankles, they could go all the way down to the front. That's really nice. And they don't really come up too much. I'd say it's only maybe a little bit more than the Miles Morales figure. So it's not very much, but it's not really a huge issue. But it does have a lot of nice rocking movement. Check that out. So yeah, it's a really nice amount of articulation on Spider-Man, so I'm very happy with that. And for the accessories, that's kind of where the figure's lacking, because he doesn't really come with too much, but he does come with a couple different sets of hands. He has a pair of fists, he has a pair of open hands, and then he has a pair of gripping hands. And then he comes with a variety of webs, starting with these two. The first one is just like a spray out with the suction cup at the end, and then the second one is just kind of spread out spray kind of deal. And then these ones are just two like web blasting effects, I guess you could call them. And one of them is a little bit shorter than the other one, so you have a short one and a long one. And then you have this one that's just a web with like a bendy wire. And here's a quick look at all these different webs. They do look very nice, but it's nothing new. It's pretty much the same webs we saw on the standard version and on the Miles Morales version. But they are sculpted very good. I kind of feel like maybe he should have came with some black webs, and maybe it'd be a cool idea to repaint some of these black, because as you know, if you're a big Spider-Man fan, the black suit doesn't actually have webs as far as I know. It's supposed to be like extensions of the suit, I believe. And speaking of that, let me show you how the webs go onto his hand here. So we got Spider-Man without his fist on, and it's kind of cool because he didn't come with any thwip hands, but he came with the fist, and it's designed so that it could look like the web is coming from the top of the fist, which is accurate to this costume. So that is awesome. I like that they did that. But I do wish that it was black. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but does the symbiote suit have actual webs, or is it just part of the suit? I always thought that it was part of the suit. But yeah, let me know. I might be mistaken. And it's really easy to put on. You just put the web into the fist itself, and then you just peg it right onto the peg. And one problem I've always seen with these Spider-Man Mezco figures is the peg is really small, so it does come off kind of easy once the web is on. But it's very easy to put on, and I love the way it looks, actually. I think it looks very cool. And then of course you have the Mezco stand with the nice spider logo in the center. You have the peg, and then you have the articulating arm that you could use to push the peg out if you like. This one's a little tight, so I pushed it out a little bit. Then it came out. You stick the arm in there. Man, that one's a little tight, but yeah, stick it in there, and then you're able to put Spider-Man into flying poses, or swinging poses, I mean. And yeah, it's cool. You know, the Mezco stands are big. Maybe you know my complaints, but they get scratched up really easy, and I don't know, they're huge, so I don't really use them for storing. But this one does look really nice with the spider logo there. And just like the other Mezco Spider-Man figures, he comes with this magnetic clip that you could clip onto the back of the figure, and then you could just stick it onto a piece of metal, like a metal stand or something. And it's a very strong magnet, so it's gonna hold him. And since he doesn't have that many accessories, we're gonna go crazy with the size comparison. So here he is with the Marvel Legends Carnage and then the Revoltech Carnage. And now here we have the Marvel Legends Chameleon and the 112 Collective Tiger Stripe Wolverine. And he's a good size compared to Wolverine. He's taller than him, so that's good. And here he is next to the Mezco 112 Collective Punisher and the Mezco 112 Collective Daredevil. And now here we have the Marvel Legends Black Suit Spider-Man and the Marvel Legends Venom. And I think he looks good next to them. Probably not going to put him with them though. But you might pose him with Kraven the Hunter and Marvel Legends Shocker. And now here he is hanging out with the Marvel Legends Jackal figure and the Marvel Legends Ultimate Spider-Man. And now here we have the Marvel Legends Sandman Build-A-Figure and Marvel Select Venom. And now here he is with the Mezco Classic Spider-Man and the Mezco Ultimate Spider-Man. And I'd have to say, out of the three of them, he's by far my favorite. Not only is it my favorite costume for Spider-Man, obviously the classic one's iconic. It's really hard to touch that one. But as far as alternate versions of Spider-Man, the black suit has always been my favorite. I just love the simple look of it. And I also like the whole thing with Spider-Man, like, and you know, fighting with the symbiote, kind of losing control. I always remember when Spider-Man had the black costume in the animated series and he like almost killed Rhino, then he felt really bad about it. And I know that's something that's always been in the comic books when it comes to the symbiote, even if it's not with Peter Parker. Like Eddie Brock goes through the same kind of thing or whatever, but I've just always liked it. And it's even cool when he doesn't, when it's not the symbiote and it's still just a black costume. It just makes more sense to me. I love the iconic version obviously, but as a figure, this one here just kind of didn't hold up for me, only because I feel like, as you can see, it kind of looks dirty and messy, and I don't know if it's necessarily the figure's fault, because I mess with it constantly. I probably, you know, some of the flaws that happen here are probably my fault, but still, it just hasn't held up. And this Miles Morales figure is awesome, and it gets a lot of hate, but I've always thought it was really cool. The only thing that kind of killed it for me with this one was the height and the ankles. If it was shorter and the ankles worked, this would be an amazing figure. But he's still pretty cool. I still like him a lot. But yeah, this the black suit Spider-Man, I just have no real huge complaints about it. He's just a really nice looking figure. It captures the look of this version of the character perfectly. And yeah, he's just really good. I'd like to see them take another stab at Miles Morales. And how cool would it be if they re-released Miles Morales, made him shorter, gave him some tennis shoes, and put like a hoodie on him and made him look like he does in the commercial for the, or in the trailer for the upcoming animated Spider-Man movie. That would be awesome. But for now, we have this one and it's dope and everything. But yeah, it doesn't touch the black one. And I'd like to see them, I don't know if I'd like to see them revisit the classic Spider-Man, because I do like it a lot. But yeah, like I said, it just hasn't held up. As you can see here, it started to crack in the torso. You might not be able to see it here, but yeah, there's little tiny cracks. And there's been little pieces that I've tried to like repaint, and it's just kind of been a mess. I do plan on getting another Spider-Man, because I do love this figure. This is such an awesome figure. But I kind of feel like the material here might be a little bit more durable. It's going to be more durable than the red on here. Obviously, this blue is going to be just fine, but this red wasn't, it didn't hold up very good. I do feel like the black on his suit is going to hold up a little bit better than the red did. And I think it's an interesting choice that they went with this weird material rather than the cloth like Miles Morales, and that's what they originally showed in the solicits and everything. But yeah, overall, I'm going to say that the black version is my favorite out of the three. And let's take a closer look at the details. Obviously, there's not too much to talk about because this suit is a very simple costume design. But I think Mezco captured it really well. I like it looks awesome just standing there. And this material is really strange. Like I said before, I'm not too sure what it is. I'm not sure if it's leather or plastic or rubber or what it is, but it's very, very interesting. It's really smooth. And I really don't see that it's leaving too many creases, and I don't feel like it's gonna rip or anything. But yeah, so one thing a lot of people are complaining about is the stitching. And I do understand it doesn't look the best, but I mean, with this figure and just the nature of how Mezco figures work, there's really no other options. I mean, it's soft goods and things like that, they have to put stitching. So I mean, you can't be too upset, and I think they did a really good job at trying to hide it, because most of the poses that you're gonna have this Spider-Man in, you know, his back's not going to be shown, or you know, not from the side or anything. For the most part, you're going to be taking pictures or displaying them from the front, I would think. So I just don't understand the stitches complaint. I mean, sometimes, you know, things have to happen, and in my opinion, I think they did a pretty good job at trying to hide it. It's well placed. I'm not going to sit here and say it looks really nice, because it doesn't. You know, it's definitely not beautiful right here or anything, but I feel they did the best they could. You know, sometimes it's just the way it is. You know, I still think in general, like, a Mezco figure looks better than a figure that has a bunch of joints exposed. You know, it's not like I hate Marvel Legends because you could see the joints, but you know, the joints are there, you could see them and you can't ignore them. I just kind of look at stitching and things like that the same way you would look at joints on a Marvel Legends. It's kind of like a necessary evil, I guess you could say. But anyways, back to the figure here. A lot of people are saying that his head looks too big. I could maybe agree with that. The head does look a little bit big, but more so I think that the neck looks really tiny, so it makes the head look big. The head to the body I think is proportioned okay, but I think the neck, how small the neck is throwing it off. For me, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm fine with it. I'm completely fine with it. I probably wouldn't have thought anything about the head unless I saw like people saying stuff, but I just kind of wanted to address that a little bit. I kind of think it's the neck that's making the head look bigger than what it is. I think the head to the body looks okay. It's not like he looks like a lollipop or anything like that. The hands are sculpted, and they're sculpted really nice, but again, there's just not too much to talk about. But overall, I think that he looks really, really good. I like the way he looks. He looks very high quality. Oh, one flaw that I have on mine is you could see that the lines right here on the top of the spider aren't very clean. Just pretty much right there. Everywhere else is okay, but it sucks because it's right in the front of him. It's right on his chest there, and it's kind of, I mean, it's not super noticeable, especially from a distance, but if you're inspecting the figure, you're definitely going to notice something like that. So, you know, that's just a little quality control issue on mine. I could probably just hit it with some paint and be fine with it. Need to get a very small paintbrush to get in there and get that looking nice. And another weird thing about this is, on mine, I've never seen this on a Mezco figure, but his lower leg is a little warped, as you could see there. I've been kind of slowly bending it back this way, but I don't want to snap it or something. But yeah, when I took it out of the package, it was like bowed. But again, it's not a horrible thing. That's just a QC issue on my individual figure. I don't really think that's going to be something everywhere, because I've never seen that on a Mezco figure, and I think it's working itself back to, you know, being straight up and down. So I'm not crazy mad about that or anything. I'm a little bit more upset about this line here. I feel like that shouldn't have come out like that. Other than that, the spider's really crisp. It looks good. Actually, it looks like it's not as clean right there too. If you could see, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but I think for the most part it looks okay with a couple of exceptions. So overall, I'm very, very happy with this figure. I think that they did a really nice job with it. He's pretty much a perfect black suit Spider-Man. I do wish that he came with some more accessories. This would have been the second opportunity to give us a Peter Parker unmasked head, and Mezco didn't do it. So that kind of sucks. They could have thrown that in there. It would have made this figure a lot better, because it is kind of, I don't want to say that it's boring, but it's very lacking in accessories, and I could see how that could be not so exciting for somebody, especially after paying $80 for the figure. But the figure itself, I'm very, very happy with it. There's a couple little flaws that I'm unhappy about, you know, but they're just little quality control things, and I'm sure that's not going to be on every single one of these figures out there. It was just on mine specifically, and stuff like that happens, so, you know, I'm not going to dwell on it. Maybe one day I'll try to repair those things, but, you know, I'm you know, it's fine. I'm not going to gripe about those little things, because overall the positives on this figure outweigh the negatives. And I could kind of understand some of the people's complaints about, you know, the stitching and the head and stuff like that, but, you know, I don't know, I just don't agree with any of those complaints. I'm not gonna say that anyone's wrong for having those complaints, but for me, I just don't mind the stitching at all. It's just, it is what it is. It's just the nature of the beast when it comes to Mezco figures. And with the head, I just disagree. I don't think that it's big. Those are two main flaws that people are saying out there, and, you know, I just kind of don't necessarily agree with them. But yeah, he's a really cool figure. I'm super happy to have him. Happy to have the trinity of Spider-Man figures that they've released. Hopefully they release more. I'd love to see them do Spider-Man 2099 or Spider-Man Noir, or even Scarlet Spider from the 90s. I think Noir and Scarlet Spider, both of those character designs lend themselves more to the 112 collective style than the Black Suit Spider-Man does. I know that he's more iconic and he's the one that's more likely to sell, but both of those characters would be awesome in the 112 collective. But let me know what versions of Spider-Man you'd like to see them do, even though I doubt they'll do any more comic versions. I know they have the Homecoming versions coming out. It's always fun to talk about it. So what versions of Spider-Man would you like to see Mezco do in the 112 collective line? Let me know in the comments. But I think that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And thank you very much. Peace.